Hello friends, thank you for joining me. I'm Gregory. This is 1 in 20 D&D. Another episode of D&D Daily. I think this is 11, right? It should be. D&D Daily down number 11. And what a great day. There was a blood moon last night. I don't know if any of you all checked that out. That was kind of neat. I did not intend to be up that late. But full moon, blood eclipse, I happened to be awake, so I ran outside for 5 minutes and then went straight to bed. Actually, I read a little bit and then went to bed. I'm reading Dragonlance again. I haven't read the Dragonlance series since I was like 10 years old. And that was like 34 years ago. So yeah, I'm an old fart. So the Dragonlance series essentially is what started my adventure in D&D. Like, it was the thing that captured my imagination. It was the first book that I actually read by choice. Up until that point, I was in like 5th grade, 6th grade, something like this. And I only read the books that I had to read. I was kind of like forced to read for school or whatever. I enjoyed being read too. I loved stories. I just didn't enjoy the act of reading. And someone shared with me Dragons of Autumn Twilight, which is the very first Dragonlance Chronicles trilogy book. And I don't know if it was the picture on the front or what. Maybe the picture's inside something. But it totally captured me. And I literally stayed up at night with a flashlight because I was supposed to be in bed asleep. And I read that book in like a week or something ridiculous. And it's like 500 plus pages or something. It's huge. So like up till that point, like 100 pages was a lot for me to read. And then I'm like, I get this book in my hands and I just can't stop. And so I read the first trilogy, absolutely love it. But it's been years. It's been, like I said, like over 30 years since I read them. So I don't remember a lot about the story. So it's fun. I kind of remember. I remember the first book pretty well. But then it gets a little fuzzy after that. So I'm like super stoked to go back and read them again. And might even dig into some of the others. What did you get? What got you into D&D? Why did you start playing D&D? Besides reading those books, another thing that inspired me to start playing was I saw some kids at lunch rolling some dice, and I'm like, what is that? That looks cool. And I had seen the ads back in the 70s, 80s, I suppose, the early 80s. Late 70s, early 80s, whatever. There was a D&D cartoon. There were commercials for D&D by TSR. So I was exposed to it, and it appealed to me. So that got me hooked. And then I saw these kids playing at school, and I'm like, what is this about? And I got involved. I started playing. We did the library club thing and all that. We played at friends' houses and whatever. And then I kept playing for the rest of my life. I still play today, obviously. So that's kind of what got me started 30-something years ago. What got you started? How did you get involved? Maybe it was Critical Role. Critical Role has been amazing for the exposure D&D is getting these days. And lots of people saw Critical Role and said, oh, that's what role-playing's all about. And it kind of hooked them into giving it a try. Now, not every game, in fact, I would venture to say most games are not like Critical Role, both because most games aren't professional actors playing a game, and most games aren't run by a DM as skilled and experienced as Matthew Mercer. I mean, one of the things, Matt is incredible as a voice actor. He's phenomenal. But what's funny is his probably part of his love for doing voices while he was role playing and DMing led him into his career, not the other way around, right? So it's like it's not like, oh, he happened to be good at voices, so he decided to become a DM. He was a DM for years and was good at voices and thought, well, maybe I should make a career out of that or something like this, right? So not every game is going to be like that, because you're not going to have Matthew Mercer as your DM unless you're super lucky. And that's okay. But also, each group is a little different because, some people like more combat. Some people like more role-playing. Some people don't want any combat. They just want a story. They want to tell a story and have fun with telling the story. So, it really depends on the dynamic of the group you're playing with. And of course, there's all kinds of other role-playing games out there. So, on that note, I sort of have a big announcement, and that is I posted yesterday the first video for our Battletech game. Now, this is going to be an ongoing, roughly monthly game that we play. And it's Battletech RPG. It's a modified, so if Brett is running the game, which he's my DM and has been since high school, if he's running the game, it's gonna be a modified version of whatever we're playing, because that's how he approaches being a GM. He personalizes it. He makes it his own by modifying or streamlining, really, the rules to make them a little easier, a little more user-friendly for us, sometimes a little more logical, but mostly he's just trying to make it play in a functional way that suits our game style. And our game style for that is mostly like lots and lots of tactics and combat and action. It's a very action-oriented style. We don't get very much into role-playing, but a little bit. Whereas like the game I run, the Wednesday game I run, tends to be pretty heavy combat, but we still get a fair amount of role-playing in. I try to actually encourage lots of role-playing. I want the characters to talk amongst themselves and to puzzle and to interact with the NPCs in as much as makes logical sense, because sometimes it just doesn't make sense. You're not going to be able to talk to a pudding. Some NPCs are going to be irascible and unnegotiated. You just can't negotiate with them, or uncommunicative. Let's say it that way. They're just not in that headspace. So every game's different. So I'm stoked about getting Battletech out there. The first video I released is just the intro. It's just like some history, because not everyone that's playing in our game, we're all friends, but like my brother and our friend Jeff, they don't have a huge exposure with Battletech and the Battletech sort of universe. So for them, Brett sort of did a little bit of a kind of a history. We got into sort of the history of the mercenary unit that we're forming or becoming a group part of, I guess. And then we did our sort of character creation, which was very simple. We kind of like talking about skills, level, and that sort of thing. Little clip of like who these people are, what their background is, how did they get into the merc unit, and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun, and that's the first video I released. Tonight, I'm going to spend a gob of time, hopefully finish, editing the actual gameplay of our first session, where we really got our mechs into combat, and that was a lot of fun. So I should have that up for you guys, if not tonight, possibly tomorrow, within the next few days, let's say. I will get some Car Wars out as soon as possible as well. And of course, I'm going to try to catch up on Agic, because, hey, that's our mainstay. That's our D&D game. That's our big campaign, D&D campaign. And we crossed over session 50, so I really need to get that to you guys as soon as possible and catch up, because I think only up to like 46 has been released or something. But jump in anywhere, any of this stuff, anytime. Let me know what you think. How did you get started? That's my question for today. How did you get started playing D&D? I'd love to hear. Or any role-playing, whatever role-playing game you're playing. send me a message, send me a DM, tweet me, whatever. All the information is below this video. In the meantime, hey, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate your time. I hope I get to sit at a table with you someday and play a game. And in the meantime, keep rolling 20s.